Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Another episode of On the Wrong Lead Live, where we handicap some of the big racing coming up every weekend here. And I am joined, as always, by my usual compatriots here. First, I will bring in Mr. Caleb Knight. Caleb, how did the horses treat you today?
Saratoga was fine, I guess. The races coming off turf was definitely a bummer. I was live in the middle pick 5, I think through 3 races when they took them all off. So they made the last 2 alls. I mean, who knows if I would have hit, but I still made money. Like, I mean, it was $60 a ticket and I had it 4 or 5 times. So I at least made a bit of money there, and then proceeded to just shovel it right into the furnace at Del Mar. But Del Mar has just not been my track this year. It's been pretty rough. So overall, probably about a wash.
Yeah, Del Mar has been tough. You know, we've been doing the get out and doing our, some bets there, but it's just been, it's been not great. Nick Seaver's already putting odds out there. Mark complaining about synth racing over under 1.5 times tonight. Currently,
would you believe that it
minus...
hit before you even started the stream? The over is good.
It hit about 3 minutes after Josh mentioned that he was going to force me to cap Woodbine and the garbage product that they put out. So yeah, synth racing is the worst. And you're going to get well over, Nick, well over.
I mean, I think their product's fine. I don't know what you're talking about. What's your big hang up with it?
How often do you play the product? 3 days a year? 3? Maybe? If it's so good, why do you play it so little? They run like 200 days a year.
I play it a little bit more than that, but I just don't. I obviously don't post in our little chat because you guys aren't playing it. So, but no, I fire probably a couple days a month. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the races at least looked a little interesting. I was telling Mark before the stream, we always talk about these. Different bets and things like that, low takeout, and other things to do. And Woodbine and Caleb, you might be interested in this. Mm-hmm. They have a $5 base pick 3 that is going to be races 7, 9, and 10. 15% takeout. So I think that
for this particular sequence and day only.
Yep. The Kings and Queens pick 3 races 7, 9, and 10. $5 base. So
I don't hate that.
I think it'll be interesting. I mean, when we talk about the races, maybe. We got a little unlucky with some of the horses in race 7. Mark told me he's got a single in the King's Plate, and I couldn't believe it.
I can hit this pick 3 on a 1x1x2 ticket.
He's going to be 1x1x2 in those 3 races, which
I
thought was
believe
ludicrous.
it. Like, if you're just like betting the biggest knocked out number, I mean, there is a horse, I guess, that kind of sticks out, but I saw a lot of questions about how that's going to translate, like turf to synth and the distance and other things. But yeah, I mean, if you're just a simple-minded person that bets big numbers, yeah, I could see it.
Nick Seaver saying high denomination horizontals are the best thing that's happened to racing. I like them. I love the $3 base pick 3s, the $1 base pick 4s. I really think that they should just make all pick 4s $1 base at this point. Like, what are we doing? And at least make the pick 3 a $2 base. I think if you do that to start, I think you're going to see some of those payouts start to look a little bit better. But we'll start with Woodbine. I did see a nice comment here from Junebug saying, poured a little sweet tea into my bourbon. Enjoy going over my PPs with your podcast. So we appreciate that. Well, I guess we should go around the room because I know, I saw Penn State Scott in here already. Oh, before we even started, he said, don't forget the drinks.
Forget the drinks.
So I have and I posted this on Twitter. This is a Starlight Distillery cigar batch, which is an Amburana barrel bourbon, finished bourbon, but it's got a sticker of Michael Jordan on the back, smoking a cigar. So my buddy picked this up for me for that. Mark, what do you got over there?
I am drinking a little red wine. Little 2022 Right Bank Bordeaux.
Caleb, did you bring the bottle in?
I did not. I have a Glenlivet 12 double oak. Don't with Scotch tonight.
Okay, nice.
Respect that.
Nick Seaver saying the $5 double Del Mar paid $270 today. So who won that last race? The 8, I think.
The 8. Which he was one of the 3 horses I thought you could use, and actually paid a really nice, like $13 or $14 to win, I think. So a good price. For a horse that I figured would be shorter, but those are pretty rare.
Yeah, I was on the 10 in that race, and unfortunately, I did not get there. But get the PPs up here for Woodbine. And we're going to talk through 4 races at Woodbine. We'll talk about through the late pick 5 over at Saratoga, and race 7 got a grade 1. It is the EP Taylor Stakes. We're going to be going 1.25 miles here on the turf, and your morning line favorite in here, the 4. She Feels Pretty at 3 to 5. You get. I guess you get 6 or 7 to 2 on Ready for Cheryl, 6 to 1 on Diamond Rain, and 8 to 1 on Caitlin Her Greatness, and you get double digits on the rest. Caleb, because I know you love long races on the turf, I'll let you go first here. Where did you land?
Yeah, I can be pretty quick here because I really don't have anything creative in this race. I do think She Feels Pretty will be very tough to beat. I know she was beaten last time as a big favorite. Excellent Truth just jumped up with a big race that day, but it isn't like She Feels Pretty ran badly. I mean, she was beaten ahead, and it was pretty game the whole way. They got a bunch of rain like right before that race went off, I think, so it could have changed the way the track was playing a little bit, perhaps, or maybe she didn't care for it. I mean, no real excuse, but I'm taking nothing away from her because even that effort we saw from her in the Diana is good enough to beat this field. She should handle the distance just fine. We've seen her at 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles, 3/16. She's very versatile. She has a win here at Woodbine, albeit going 1 mile as a 2-year-old. So I'm just not trying very hard to beat She Feels Pretty. I think she's a very strong favorite. The only horse I'd probably try to use maybe as kind of a backup, and this would be kind of price contingent, would be the Appleby horse, Diamond Rain. I don't think this is a great filly. I mean, she just kind of broke through at the group level last time out as an odds-on favorite. That was not the most impressive of grade 3s, but nevertheless, I mean, she got the job done, and she's coming in off of the 2 wins. The distance is going to suit. She was stretched out to 1.25 miles in her second start, so this is really her trip. If not, maybe go to 1.5 miles one day. But she needs to probably improve a little bit. But Appleby doesn't send them over if they're not without a chance. So I do respect Diamond Rain, and I'll probably pay the Appleby tax if I'm playing this. Maybe it's like a C type, but I think She Feels Pretty is a pretty strong A.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Caleb basically talked exactly my book. We have identical takes on this. She Feels Pretty is a lone A type. If you're getting a little cute, maybe you make Diamond Rain a B. But I think this is pretty formful. And but I will say, what I will say is there's no way on earth you get 6 to 1 on Diamond Rain. If you get, I would imagine She Feels Pretty goes off at 1 to 5, 2 to 5 sort of range, and I would imagine Diamond Rain as your second choice in 3 to 1, 7 to 2 sort of range. But She Feels Pretty is a lone A, Diamond Rain is a lone B, and you don't really need to look any further than that in this race.
If she's 2 to 5, she can't win, right? Isn't that the rule, Caleb?
According to friend of the show, Stephen Fox, 2 to 5s never win.
Yeah, you guys basically said the same thing, which means we don't get even close to 6 to 1 on Diamond Rain. I have She Feels Pretty as an A. I will say, the highlight figure on time form is the 127 2 back. I mean, I expect this is probably going to be closer to like maybe just a touch under that. I think the winning figure here is going to be low 120s, low to mid 120s. So thinking that is the reason why I kind of really like Diamond Rain, because generally we do adjust these Timeform figs a little bit with these horses shipping in. So I think, you know, we're looking at a horse that's probably running closer to 120 than 114 here. So I think Diamond Rain looks a little bit better than maybe if you just look at the straight figures there, but. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I basically have it, guys, the same way as you guys. I'm thinking about this in the pick three type bet that we had talked about earlier, the $5 base. I'll probably end up using them equally, even though it's probably burning money here. But I'll use the 3 and the 4 probably both as A's. But I do think the 4 is going to be pretty tough to beat here. Anything else in this race?
No, but that's a very Mark thing to do, just so you know.
What, using both of them equally?
Using a 2 to 5 and a 3 to 1, which I assume this horse will be, both as A's in a 6-horse field.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I should probably just toss She Feels Pretty, but it is what it is. But race 8 at Woodbine, the Bold Venture, going 6.5 furlongs on the synthetic. Now, Mark was incorrect. So Mark said something along the lines in our private chat. Josh is just making us handicap a graded race on synthetic because there's probably a horse that owes him money in here.
And
there
the horse
is not a horse.
Oh, you are lying. I don't.
There is not a horse that owes me money. There is a horse that has made me money. And you know when this horse made me money? Is the one time Caleb did not bet this horse. Caleb chased this horse for like a year, finally missed the race, and Ice Chocolate won. Was it the poker last year at 24 to 1? And he like, I think you like just weren't betting that day or something. It was something weird.
I was
where,
on
a
camping trip. I was fishing that weekend. That was Belmont Stakes weekend, and I was out in the wilderness, so I didn't bet all weekend.
Yeah. And I was like, Caleb, we got 24 to 1. We finally got there. He's like, I didn't bet it. I was nowhere close to. I had no reception. But in all seriousness, right? I look at this race, and obviously the morning line favorite at 2 to 1, Simcoe, right? 116 last time out at even money in an allowance race. But I just don't think this horse hasn't really had much stakes experience. Where Ice Chocolate, I mean, this is a horse that's won, grade 3s, ran in that grade 2 Kennedy Road last year and just missed. So this is a horse that I think does take to the synthetic, right? Has run well on the synthetic. And this is just a horse that I think has got much more experience in these big types of races. So single for Ice Chocolate, only a horse I'm going to use. I hope we get somewhere near that 6 to 1. But yeah, I mean, if I'm playing like a contest or something, I'm definitely going to have some kind of win bet on Ice Chocolate. Anything, probably I'd probably take half that. I'd probably take 3 to 1 on Ice Chocolate in this spot. But Mark, where did you kind of land here?
Yeah, I mean, I made the joke because I saw Ice Chocolate was in here, and I like Ice Chocolate as well. I think the horse makes a ton of sense. I think that one time, I think the horse actually has 3 synth starts, but a couple of them were a very long time ago. I thought that one synth start in the fall of 2023 was a pretty nice effort. And probably this is kind of the horse that turf synth gets them both, and is a major player here. I think this, the morning line favorite 6, Simcoe, it makes some sense, but I think I had the same questions you do, Josh. This is a horse that G3 the horse hopped into was probably was definitely not the horse's best effort. So you kind of wonder, is this one of those horses that gets kind of class exposed as they sort of move up the class ladder? They eventually kind of find their spot. But the one other horse I thought was pretty interesting in here that you might get a little value, might get a little bit ignored, is the one horse Victory Achieved for Cassie. This this is a horse that, people are going to look at that last out effort and probably going to say, oh, geez, the whatever, something came apart. This horse isn't, doesn't really, whatever, doesn't fit, whatever it is. They just went too far in that one. If you look at this horse is perfect. It's 2 for 2 going 6.5 furlongs, and kind of has won all those races going this trip for fun, by open lengths. So I think this is one. Yeah, there's been a bit of a layoff, which is always a question, but nice to see husbands hop back up. And I really wonder in this field if that one gets a little ignored and you get a little better price in that 4-1. So I think those are the three most likelies for me. I don't know. Caleb probably has some wise guy opinion on some other price in here.
No, I couldn't really find a price in here, truthfully. We all see this race pretty similar. I also like Ice Chocolate. I don't know that 6.5 on the all weather is really his game. And we haven't really seen him in a while, and his last race was kind of just okay. So, I mean, I don't maybe like him as much as it seems like the consensus is here, but like at 6-1, he's an obvious use, assuming he's going to take more money off of that. He is the class of the field, but I do think that, I think he might be better going a touch longer and probably on the turf, but he'll still probably be a use for me. I agree with Mark about Victory Achieved, number one. The horse is pretty much undefeated sprinting on the all weather, most of which by open lengths. Layoff is a bit of a concern here. This is a tough spot to make your return, but I do think this might be the one horse that kind of goes off in that 4 to 5-1 range that actually has a legitimate chance to win. So I do like, Victory Achieved. And then the other horse I will be using is the number 5, Play Me a Tune. This horse I had a hard time kind of getting a read on because the figures really aren't that fast, but the horse just loves to win. And if you draw a line through the turf races and the one dirt try, I mean, the horse is 4 out of 5 wins on the synthetic, at Turfway and at Woodbine, most of which were, pretty comfortable wins. And the one loss came, in this race last year to Patches O'Houlihan, who is probably the top, sprinter on this circuit. Yeah. So I kind of think that, that 121 time form that he ran in this race last year, I don't know how legit that necessarily was, but, he has every right to kind of improve here. Second off the layoff, getting back to the right surface here. A lot of things to like. So I like Play Me a Tune. I doubt you get much of a price, but I do think that's a horse that I want to have pretty prominently. And yeah, I'm also with y'all. Simcoe is probably just not for me. I don't know if I believe that 116 last out on time form. And I just don't know if he's really battle tested as much as some of the others. I mean, he got beat at 1-2 in a 3-horse field last out, 2 back to Old Chestnut. If Old Chestnut's in this race, and you'd be hard pressed to convince me he has much of a chance in here. So I do kind of think, Simcoe is a favorite that I probably don't want a whole lot to do with. So I won't be using him anywhere, and I hope he does take money, but I don't suspect he actually goes off as the favorite, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I kind of want to bring up Old Chestnut in here because that's a horse that has that one figure that comes out of nowhere, and it kind of makes you question that race. And then when you compare that race to Simcoe's race, you go, oh, geez, I wonder if the Simcoe fig is amazingly dressed up. So, yeah, I think of the 3 short price favorites, for that exact reason, I want the least amount of Simcoe. I would like, a Victory Achieved or, or an Ice Chocolate more than that horse.
Yeah, my thing here is that I think if you were interested in a horse like Simcoe, I mean, don't you kind of have to use Old Chestnut a little bit? I mean, at 20-1.
I mean, Old Chestnut's beaten him twice, actually. Both times they faced.
Yeah.
But Old Chestnut, he doesn't strike me as like a need the lead type of runner because he does make up ground. But I mean, those 2 races, clearly he's best when on the lead. And I just can't imagine he gets that kind of a trip in here with Simcoe and especially Victory Achieved and the rail. So, I kind of gravitated more towards the mid-pack runners. But if you like Simcoe, I think you have to at least take a second look at Old Chestnut because he seems to have his number.
But the thing is, where's S1 Flores? That's the thing there. Like the jock who has those 2 huge performances from him isn't here. Like it seems really weird to me. I don't know if there's a situation there or what's up, but I just kind of head scratched at like, okay, the horse's 2 biggest wins, the jock who is up isn't in the race. Okay.
Caleb, you have I don't know if you have the Brisnats handy because I don't. Do Flores or the Sophia, do either of them have any mounts on this card?
I know Sophia does. I saw her on a couple of races. S1 Flores does not have any mounts. He's not riding today.
I was just interested because there was a race I think later on that Sophia had been riding the horse pretty regularly, and I think she got taken off for somebody. So I was just curious about that. But yeah, I'll probably use I mean this isn't really in the pick 3 that I'm most interested in playing in this spot. So I don't know how much I bet through this race. I mean, Ice Chocolate I think is a win bet at a certain price, and so we'll see what we get there. But yeah, if I'm playing contests, I think Old Chestnut will probably be worth a stab at a long price. So, anything else on this race, or we're ready to go?
I'm good.
Mark's got that look like the less time on synthetic, the better. So we'll keep going here to the King's Plate, which I think Mark said before the stream. It's weird hearing that still, but race 9 here. We're gonna be going.
You mean the black type King's Plate? You mean that race? Yeah.
Well, because you can't grade it. You can't grade a state bred race. The state bred reds can't be graded. That's why. That's the only reason. Because it's for Canadian breds only. That's the reason why it's listed stakes.
Okay, Donald. Canada's not a state.
Well, you know what I meant. There's also okay. It's for Canadian breds only, right? It's not for Ontario breds only. Sorry.
So you're telling me One Nation breds can't have a? Go on. I don't want to.
I'm just telling you, it's a restricted stakes race. That's why it's not graded.
Synthetic crap any more than we have to. Come on, let's go.
Oh my goodness gracious. Mile and a quarter here on the synthetic. Well, Mark, I'll let you get it done and over with. Where did you land here?
One horse race, no time wins this. Can we go to the next race yet? I mean, if you're a time form person, you're looking at that last out effort from no time. Johnny Velasquez up, he gets the mount again. It was Woodbine Oaks Day. I'm not sure what other races were on that card as well. And the horse ran, absolute massive figure. I don't know if it's the case. Johnny Velasquez, when he shows up at Woodbine, wins all the things. So he did very, very well on that day. I think he had 4 wins and he should have had 5, except for the getting mugged in the last race. But I think no time just kind of towers over this field. I realize there's an argument to be made for a couple of horses. Maybe they take step forwards, but if this horse fires back to that last effort, it's a 1-horse race, and I'm not going to get cute in here. I will get skinny where other people are spreading, and I'll just single no time in here.
Nick Seaver saying Craig doesn't trust time form on synthetic. So I still gotta reach out to Craig. I've been dying to talk to him.
Come to Saratoga and hang out. I saw him last weekend.
Yeah. So Caleb, Mark is singling the 7-2 morning line favorite, the filly, going against the boys here. Where did you land?
I mean, I think he's right in the sense that she appears to be your most likely winner of the race, and I think she is a deserving favorite in here. But I mean, I can't single her. I mean, she's kind of moving out of restricted races against her own sex, where she caught a really swift pace, got a really nice trip, and just kind of blew the doors by him that day. That race came back pretty strong with a couple of the runbacks, but again, she's taking on the boys here. The waters are a little bit deeper. She has to stretch out another furlong. So I do think there's some concerns there. Not to mention, I mean, if you do believe the time form, that was a pretty significant new top, and now she's running back on 3 weeks of rest after anywhere from a 10 to 15 point new top. I mean, 3-year-old fillies do tend to go backwards more than forwards after an effort like that. I'm just not as confident that she's going to show up with that effort again, although I do concede she is your probably most likely winner. There's a couple that I did find a little more interesting at better prices. One of them is the number 4 Scorching. Truthfully, I don't know why Loscano's on this horse. I don't know why Loscano's even here. I mean, I guess he's, probably has as good of a chance to win here as he's at Saratoga, so might as well give it a shot. But, I just thought this horse was, if you go back and watch that plate trial stakes at Woodbine on the 20th, that's a race that totally fell apart. Your first, second, and third place finishers were 6th, 9th, and 8th at the first call. I mean, the other speeds, finished last and next to last in that race. This is the only horse that was involved in that early pace that actually stuck around to be in the frame at the end. And I just thought that was a better effort than it looks. This is by no means a need to lead horse. It has done, some passing and a few other starts in here and has been kind of progressively inching forward. I mean, taking small steps, and it was only a few points slower than the favorite in here. And I think, he's much more likely to kind of take an incremental step forward rather than react to a pretty big top. So I thought that Scorching is one in here who, could be in with, a nice chance at a pretty good price. There was a couple others, but I guess before I go on more, Josh, I'll kind of see where you landed first.
Yeah, I landed on 2 horses in this race. I thought the 11 Tom's Magic, going from turf to synthetic was interesting in this spot. Ran a 1:10 time form last time out, won pretty easily in that stakes race at Monmouth. Ran in the grade 3 Transylvania and just kind of, was kind of close to the lead, but then just kind of, I think, kind of fell back in that race, but has a stakes win at Fairgrounds, right? Broke his maiden at Fairgrounds. So, by Justify. So I think the extra distance isn't going to be an issue in this case, because obviously we're going 1.25 miles, and most, if not all, of these horses have not gone that distance yet. So I thought Tom's Magic was very, very interesting in this spot, and is my top pick. 5-1 on the morning line. I thought, for CJ Thoroughbreds, I thought this is an interesting horse, and hopefully CJ lets me know if this horse is going to win, because whenever he likes his horse, they never win, and then whenever he doesn't say anything, they do win. So CJ, well, maybe I need CJ not to tell me anything, so that way we can go ahead and we can send it in. But the only other horse besides Tom Magic I'm going to use in this spot. I hope you guys like pudding.
Push the button. Do it.
I don't know if I have. Oh, I do have. I think I do have it set up. Where's it at? It's got to be. Yeah, here it is.
There it is.
I actually really like the 7 Runaway Again in this spot, and I understand that this is a stakes race, right? This is a winner, second time out, going against stakes runners, but this is a horse that won by 9 1/4 lengths first time out. Get JJC's fit to ride in this spot, and that time form figure is a 103, and obviously this is a horse that's going to need to take a step forward, but I don't think expecting a 7 to 10 point jump second time out for a horse is asking for like way too much on the time form scale. So I thought that this is a really, really interesting horse second time out. The fact that JJ is getting the board here, Siddharth, obviously a great trainer on the Woodbine circuit, and time form's got this kind of listed as a fast pace. I maybe have some questions because it doesn't really seem like we have very many like need the lead types. It could just be the old because there's 13 horses in the race. The projector just assumed it's going to be a fast pace, but this is a horse that's got the highest time form late pace figure in here. So I thought that if we do get a bit of a swift pace in this spot, I thought that this could be a horse that is able to kind of pick up the pieces late and outkick everybody in this race. So granted, like I said, I know we're asking a lot for a second time out maiden breaker, but you're getting 12-1 on the morning line. And I just thought that this was kind of an interesting horse to use in this spot. So I'm going to use the 7 and the 11. Those are the only horses I'm going to use in this spot. Caleb, what were the other horses that you were kind of looking at?
Yeah, I mean, one of them was the 11, whom you've already covered. I think that horse looks really good in here. I mean, I did look at your 3 your 7 for a while. I couldn't quite get there. I just think this is a massive ask to step up from maiden company into the biggest race for 3-year-olds in all of Canada in your second career start when you were in an off the turf race anyway. And I know, Josh, you and I have talked about runbacks a little bit. I mean, if you kind of look at, now granted, the horse won by 9 lengths. I'm a little more forgiving on poor runbacks when a horse just dominates like that. But I mean, the top 4 finishers regressed by 24 points, 4 points, 29 points, and 44 points in their next start. So I have some questions about that figure, even if he did win by 10 lengths. But at 12-1, I mean, I don't blame you for taking a shot there. The other horse I did like is the horse who Munger actually gets off of your 7 there to ride, which is the number 12, Sedbury's Ghost. This is a horse that has, we talk about, angles we like to use oftentimes on stream. And one that I often mention is horses that consistently step forward. I mean, if you look at his speed figures, he's moved forward in every single career start. Not huge leaps and bounds, but consistently 5, 6, 8 points forward in each start. It's a horse who seems to be getting good at the right time. One going away last out, going 1 1/8 miles in that plate trial. That's a race where I think the flow did set up for him. As I mentioned earlier, where Scorching kind of got scorched on the front end a little bit. But take nothing away from the victor, because he ran a great race in there. Runs like a horse who it seems like 1.25 miles is going to suit. And, is one that I'll be using, pretty prominently. So Sedbury's Ghost is the other one I liked.
So let me get this straight. Caleb is using the Sprinter. Josh is on the Turf Horse and the Maiden Breaker last out with Javi up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure I understood. Got it. Cool. Got it.
Which one of mine's the Sprinter?
The 4? Doesn't that horse scream that that's a horse that wants to sprint and does not want to go this far?
He might. I mean, this is a question. The pedigree certainly doesn't lean to 1 1/8 miles, but I thought he held on off a well going, or 1.25 miles, but I thought he held on well going 1 1/8 miles last time.
I thought he stopped pretty badly last time out, and the pedigree to me screams that he wants to go like a 1 turn. So
I agree with you on the pedigree, but I think you're completely wrong about he stopped badly given the dynamics of how that race was run.
Yeah. Tomato.
But
so did anyone look at this? Give this 8 a look? Because Caleb, when you were originally talking about Scorching, I thought you were going to be talking about the 8 a little bit in this race.
No, I don't think the 8 has much of a chance.
No? Okay.
I mean, I know Pratt gets up, so if you want to simp for 30-1, go for it. I mean, the work's coming in, especially that most recent work looks really good. I didn't look at the whole card, so I mean, I'm curious who Pratt really came here to ride, because I don't imagine it was this horse. But yeah, I mean, like I said, if you want to take a 30-1 on Flavian Pratt in a big race, I don't blame you. But this just feels like a horse that was precocious as a 2-year-old, did not go on as a 3-year-old, and I don't probably think he has much chance.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is also going to be the fact that everybody knows Pratt's getting up, and there's no way you get 30-1 because Pratt's getting up. You're going to get horse is going to be massive over bet. You're going to get 12-1 probably range, and I 100% agree with Caleb.
All right, race 10, the King Edward, grade 2. 3-year-olds and up. We're going to be going 1 mile on the turf here. I landed on. I have 3 horses in this race here. I really like the 1, Piper's Factor, in this spot. This was the horse I think I was talking about earlier that Sophia had been riding and rode pretty well. And then they pulled her off. They put Patrick Husbands aboard last time out. I am a little. This is kind of price dependent. Like when it comes to win, now, obviously, if we're playing this horizontally, like I'm not going to know what price you're going to get on here. But
allow me to help you. It's not going to be 8-1.
Not going to be 8-1. That was exactly what I was saying.
That horse is going to be your second choice.
That horse will be probably
your second choice.
My concern with this horse though is I hate taking short prices on horses that have good figures but don't win. And this horse, right, has got the fastest time form figure, right? He's got a 1:23 in a second place effort. Hasn't won since 2024 on a yielding turf stakes race at August of last year. Figures look great though, right? So I don't know, did we just find a soft enough, is this just a soft enough field that those figures are going to be good enough to win? I mean, last time out, the favorite, Cruden Bay, was able to, beat this horse. I only got a 1 form less due to it, but I don't know. I think there could be some questions here about this horse and whether the what kind of price, like I said, the price we're going to get on it, and hey, are those figures in losing efforts, are they really going to be worth betting? So I had this horse as my top pick, but I don't know. Like if you guys are all at least you guys all think this horse is gonna get bet. I don't know if I'm necessarily super interested in that horse. The 8 Gas Me Up was another horse that I liked in the spot. And this is a horse kind of coming off of a win last time out. Has run well going a mile, but I like the fact that Flavian Pratt's getting the board here for this horse. This is a horse that has kind of been bouncing around a little bit. Was in Peter Urton's barn a couple years ago. Was running on the West Coast. Came over here to Woodbine. Had another long layoff, but has had two runs this year. Seemed to kind of improve that second time out in what looked to be kind of two kind of preps for this race. So I think this has probably been the goal all along. So I think Gas Me Up is in here with a pretty good shot.
Button.
And then, the button.
The button.
I'll hit that. I got to find the other one. But the other horse I liked was the 6 Lucky Score. I thought the 6 Lucky Score, it's got a couple of nice races. And I think this just seems like a horse that is maybe just kind of rounding in the form. Now, granted, this is a 7-year-old, right? But I often feel like these older horses do take a little bit to kind of get into their kind of top form, especially like this into the season. So I do think that, that 115 last time out, if we're able to kind of get just a little bit improvement on that, and kind of get into that prime form. I mean, obviously it's a 7-year-old, so how much we can expect off that, I'm not really sure. But this is a horse that 2 years ago was running in the BC Turf Mile. So I like this horse kind of as a little bit of a long shot, but 1 and 8 are gonna be my main plays in this spot. Caleb, where did you land here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too different than you, Josh. I just don't know that I think the race is that open. I think it's 1 and 3, and those are the only 2 horses that I really want. You already talked about Piper's Factor. I think we all recognize that he's probably not going to be 8-1. I think he'll be in the ballpark of 7-2. He runs consistently strong figures. Kind of throw out that race 2 back where he just ran off and went way too fast. And his other races surrounding that are all extremely solid. But I do think Cruden Bay is a better horse. He's much more, of a winner, to be sure. He's got 8 wins from 24 starts. So he's won a third of his career starts, going out for a very hot barn right now. He was able to win that grade 2 last time out while coming off of a year layoff. You have to think he's going to be actually more fit second time off. And I don't think this is much of a really a tougher race than that one. I think that the top, I mean, he beat Northern Invader in that race, who is a very nice, older turf horse, Invader from Sri DeVoe's barn. So I think that this is an easier spot than that. He was able to get the job done in that race. I just think he is the horse to beat. So, I mean, to me, he's like a lone A. I will throw Piper's Factor on as my lone B. And I just didn't think anyone else had really much of a chance in here.
100% agree with Caleb. 1 or 3. I don't need anybody else. Caleb already basically talked my book, so I got nothing else here.
Josh, I'm a little surprised because the one horse, if I was going to have a third horse, it would have been the 10. Maybe you just didn't realize he was in. I'll give him their chance, but
no, I was a little concerned about that being way out there in the parking lot, because I'm pretty sure the 1 mile at Woodbine is like a 1-turn mile with like a bend. So I was just a little concerned.
There's
with
no bend, I think it's just a super long.
Super long. Yep, super long. Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was a little concerned that being out in the 10 post, that it would have to work a little hard to kind of get the lead in that race. And I did think the 1, if the 1 wasn't the other speed, I would probably have been more on the 10. But I just think, when you have the 2 kind of pace setters or speed horses, one's on all the way on the inside, one's all the way in the outside, I think it's tough to use both of them. So I just much preferred the 1 to the 10. So that's
I like the 1's figures better. He's a better price in the book and whatever. But I mean, I would, not to be argumentative, which is my favorite thing, but like this horse is going to clear in 3 strides out of the gate. If you ask my opinion, I don't think it's even close that he is significantly faster than the 1. And I don't think the post is going to hurt him because you got 6 furlongs to the turn. But yeah, I just don't know if he's good enough, but it just felt like a U horse, which is kind of why I brought him up. But
yeah,
there's one other Josh horse in here that I'm shocked that Josh is not on, and that's the 9.
Public Sector.
Yep.
Wasn't that oh, it's a JJ and Safi horse.
Yeah.
I don't know. I looked at this horse, but I don't know. It just wasn't for me. Wasn't this a Clearridge horse?
Chad Brown at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, or Chad Brown.
Yeah. Yep, I think it was a Chad Brown horse at one point, like 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2023. Yeah, no,
just a win going this trip at Woodbine. That was my only thought. And you know, you've never seen a Safi horse you didn't like, so.
I mean, that is true. Anything else on this race?
Nope.
All right. Well, we got Saratoga. Now that we're
not going to cover the last stakes race.
Where?
At Woodbine?
No, we're done.
Covering all the stakes
we said the graded stakes.
Except for you maybe cover the King's Plate, which is not a graded stakes.
All right, Mark. We will.
No. Let's talk Saratoga. I'm good.
All right.
Which just happens a lot these days. I'm getting old. You know, I forget things.
Too much wine.
Too much wine.
Did you handicap the other race, Caleb?
I did not.
Yep.
Okay. I thought me agreeing with Caleb at some point made most sense, but race 8 at Saratoga, we got the late pick 5 here, and we got the good old Wilson Shoot. Wilson Shoot made you a lot of money, did it, Caleb? Well, a little bit of money, but that's mostly because all the races got taken off the turf, and you got all. But race 8 here, New York bred allowance, going a mile here, and Mark, I'll let you go first. Where did you kind of land?
This whole sequence is tough, and I think this is actually, I know Caleb kind of in our private chat didn't love didn't love this sequence, but I thought this was a pretty fun, competitive late sequence. I don't think it pays crazy or anything, but I think there's definitely some spots you can take and have some really good opinions in here. There were 2 horses that I really liked in here. I'll start with my top pick, which is the 7 here, Aggregation, Chad Brown horse off a long layoff. If you know anything about the shoot, you know that speed is gold, and this horse, if he fires back to his prior form, should be, part of that front pace club complexion, part of that sort of, there's a couple others that have some speed in here. Horses like the 3 and the 8 should be able to go as well. So I think Aggregation, major player in this field, and has the right run style to be a major player here if he's ready off the bench, and these Chad Brown horses normally are. The other horse that I was really interested in was the 4 Chicchiobello, which gets Santana up. Santana's been riding absolutely phenomenally well, so far this meet at Saratoga. A horse that has enough pace where, it looks like he has some options here. I would imagine he sort of tucks in behind the front runners and he sort of gets first run. A horse that, it does have a win going, at Saratoga, has 3 wins going this trip. Right kind of pace figures, right kind of speed figures. It should kind of sit that right trip. So those are the 2 I was most interested in, albeit they're probably going to be 2 of the shorter prices, but this race is pretty darn tough. I don't think you're going to have a super short price. I think your shortest price in here is going to be in that 4-1 sort of a range. So very good betting race. Interested to see how Caleb saw this, because he oftentimes has angles in here that, produce good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know about this time. I thought this was a hard race. I guess I'm curious, Mark. At what point do you start to just throw out horses that Manny Franco rides? I mean, he's having a rough meet.
The thing is, though, he is having a rough meet, except for when he rides with Chad, because I think all of his winners have been on Chad Brown horses. So that's just sort of the asterisk that, and and honestly, a couple of those horses have been, hey Manny, you're going to get up on this Chad horse and you're going to send it and just try to wire this field, and those has been when he's been doing okay. I do agree with you though. Manny's been having a really rough meet, and if you want to just draw a line through this horse because Manny's up on on the horse, I don't have any fault for that. There's a lot of people doing that with a number of other jockeys that have been also having rough meets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the 7 big layoff. Anyone who knows me knows that if I see a Chad Brown horse that works at Monmouth, I'm not going to bet it. I'm in New York anyway. This horse, I mean, the 6-year-old gelding coming back for a tag off a big layoff. I mean, it might win, but I think there's enough speed in here to keep things honest. I don't think this horse gets away from the field. The problem is I just didn't really know where else to go in here. I mean, I looked at the 3 for a long time, Get a Job. I tend to really, I mean, I guess that'd be my top pick, but I hate the price in terms of like getting 7-2 on this horse, who I think does probably need to improve to beat this field. This is a much probably tougher field than what he found in that July 11 start at Saratoga. But I find that the Wilson shoot tends to play very unique. I mean, I'd almost say it's like a very horse for coursey kind of configuration where, I think it tends to, some horses really, yeah, Steve, just like me, huh? I think some horses just really handle it better than others. You kind of have to hustle your horse out of the gate because you have that little bend, a few jumps out of the chute, and then you have to, use horse early to get position. It's a rider's race. It's a configuration that I think plays more towards sprinters and speed than it does cutbacks. And this is a horse who's a perfect 2 for 2 out of the Wilson shoot at Saratoga specifically. Irad sees fit to stay on board for Asmussen, who's having a very strong meet. I think it's a very realistic placement for Asmussen to run him back at the same level, because I don't necessarily think that this horse is, ready to move up in class at all. But I think he found maybe a soft enough spot with some pretty clever placement here that he might be able to get the job done. So I kind of reluctantly landed on Get a Job, although I was hoping to get closer to 5 or 6 to 1 as opposed to 7 to 2. Don't know if that's going to happen, but I guess that'd be like my tentative top pick. There's a bunch of other ways you theoretically could go. I mean, I don't know, Josh, any E8s in here you feel good about?
I have a single in this race, and that's the 3 Get a Job. So yeah, unfortunately, Caleb, I kind of had the same thought as you, right? Like, if morning lines were off, that I would be salivating over this horse, because I'd be like, this horse looks too slow. This horse is, but this horse just loves the Wilson shoot, and loves the Chase Wilson Sesame shoot, as Matthew DeSantis likes to poke fun. But this is a horse that loves the Wilson shoot, and just there's just other things. This is inside drawn speed, right? And inside drawn speed on the Wilson shoot, I feel like, is always good, right? So, but like, to me, I looked at this horse, and granted, I looked at time form. So let's pull up Formulator, which is a shout out to DRF, who helps provide us with data for this stuff. You look at DRF. I mean, this horse just looks way too slow, doesn't it? I wonder. I love David Aragona. I love his morning lines, but like, I feel like this is a little wise guy here on this 3. So I do think that we'll at least get 7 to 2 on this horse. If not, like 4 to 1, maybe floats up a little bit. What'd you say?
I think the horse goes off as your favorite. I would be almost surprised if that horse. Yeah, I think you get 3 to 1 on that horse as your favorite. Yeah.
It's interesting to me, because I feel like all the public money, probably doesn't bet this horse, except, I mean, maybe they see Steve Asprey and Irad on there, but I don't know. Like, I feel like the public, the stuff that like we would normally associate with, hey, the public's going to bet this horse, doesn't really light up for this horse necessarily outside of Irad. But
Irad, 32% Asmussen, and all the connection angles all the way around. I mean, I think that horse screams all the things that money is going to chase at Saratoga.
I mean,
Irad's 50% up for Asmussen this meet. He's 23% going for him regularly. This horse is, a last out winner going this trip at Saratoga with Irad up. You got, Asmussen finally kicked his kid off and got a mildly competent jock, and the horse wins. And the horse is 2 for 2 at Saratoga. I'll be shocked if this horse isn't your favorite. Now, it's not going to be a short price favorite. You're going to get probably 3-1, but I want zero part of that horse. Absolutely none of that horse.
I don't think anyone in this field is going to be 9-5, right? I think your favorite's going to be in the 3-1 ballpark. I think the Chad Brown's going to be your favorite. I mean, anyone who is a figure player can see this horse has the consistently best figures, but you're going back a year or two to get to him. I don't think we'll get 6-1 in the 3. I think he'll be probably second choice. But it is interesting. I could see this race shaking out a lot of different ways.
Yeah. But yeah, the 3 is a lone A for me. So like I said, hey, you're probably right, Mark. This horse based on figures looks way too slow. Or not way too slow, but looks slower. I mean, heck, the 1 looks faster than this horse. The 2 looks faster than this horse. Like people look at those buyers and they're just like, well, why? They're gonna bet those. I mean, I would like the 1 has been consistently running in the mid 80s, or it looks like he's been going up into running into the mid 80s. Like, I don't know. But I thought, like, when I first looked at this race yesterday or 2 days ago before the morning lines were out, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be like, this is gonna be the horse that I'm gonna try and like win bet. I'm gonna get a decent price on, and yeah. And honestly, I mean, I wonder how much money the 7 takes because of what was the horse? Was it yesterday, Mark? Or was it last weekend? There was a horse that Chad had on like a super, super long layoff.
It was last Sunday, I think.
Sunday of
2023 last race, like 2.5.
It was like a 500 day. Yeah, it was like a 500-day layoff or something, right? And the horse won, or 700-day layoff.
Yeah, it was something.
And the horse won. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean the three's my lone A is a single in this spot. The only other horse that I kind of gave some look to was the 1 Palace Boss. I thought the 1 was interesting in this spot. Just because we've seen how good the inside tends to be. But this horse is going to be sitting in that second pack, right? So the horse is going to have to work out a little bit of a trip. And it's probably going to need a little bit of help from the 7 and the 8 to really push the 3 to kind of get some pace to run into. But I think if this race does fall apart, I do think that the 1 is probably the most likely to kind of pick up the pieces from the inside. So maybe like a C type or a B type for me on the 1, but I got all my money going through the 3.
Yeah, I didn't mind your 1. I mean, the jockey kind of gave me some trouble there. And I just don't know, what kind of trip we're going to get from the inside post. I don't think this is really a closer, honestly. So I went the opposite way. I looked at the far outside 2 runners, Crimson Light and Cut the Cord. Crimson Light, kind of looks like he got crushed in that last start. But if you look at the time form figure, it came back actually as a pair of his top. I mean, yeah, Manny Franco gets off to ride the Chad Brown Witsec horse, but still, I mean, I think getting Saya's the way this meet has gone is probably an upgrade. So I just thought that that was a horse that I wasn't quite sure what to do with. Yeah, he disappointed as a very short priced favorite last out, but it is encouraging that there's no drop in class or barn change, and that Todd brings him back in at a similar spot. So he's one I kind of gave a look at. The other one is the 9 Cut the Cord, who is coming in off of an awful race. But, arguably you can kind of draw a line through that, given that it came, against Open Company, for one, and it also came on a sloppy sealed racetrack. The horse clearly just, wasn't getting over the surface that day. But if you go back, the race 2 back was extremely strong, where he did beat Palace Boss by, 3 lengths, just missing the winner's spot. My question with this horse is I do kind of wonder if he's better at like a mile and an eighth compared to a mile, or more of a 2-turn kind of a runner. But, with Kendrick, this horse does have some speed, but, might be able to work out a trip from the outside, stalking the pace. But those are the other 2 that I'd have probably on a ticket somewhere.
Yeah, I was actually shocked that Josh didn't talk about that 9, because, I mean, I realize it's not an E8, so maybe that's why he missed the horse, but it seems like a very Josh type
only
of
2 cherries.
Horse. Yeah, it's only like a 2-cherry horse. So, but no, I mean, Kendrick has ridden this horse really well, has an equal number of wins going out of the chute as Josh's 3, and will be probably double the price, and actually has faster speed figures in both of those wins. So I don't know. You tell me.
I don't believe you about the shoot, but you might be right, but I don't think I believe you. But yeah, otherwise, yes, I agree.
I know it has at least one. I didn't see the second, so I could be lying about the second one. There's at least one shoot win with Mooch.
Hold on. There was let me pull it up.
When did they introduce the shoot? Was that 23 or 22, 23?
It might have even been further back than that. I remember I was out there for the first race with Brandon. I don't remember what year it was, but it's been a few years.
So we're looking at race 8. Oh. The 8 post has 2 wins and 8 starts, 25%. Saratoga going a mile on the dirt.
And I know people talk about the bias on the shoe, and I just really think that the sample size isn't big enough. And I also think jockeys are still kind of trying to figure out how to run it. Obviously, they're if you look at the cool little layout of the track, it looks a lot smoother than it is. Horses do obviously love to find gaps, and so they do tend to get kind of slammed, the inside horses, over towards the rail. So it has been very speed favoring. I agree with that across the board. I think some of the post bias data is a little bit thin, and it's a little bit. You're seeing some reversion to the mean this meet, because I think it was the 7 hole or something had 0 wins and like 40 starts, and finally I think you had 2 in the last week. So,
anything else on this race?
Nope.
All right, we had a ton of comments during that. So obviously we already picked out our boy Matt here, and then Steven saw get a job just like Caleb. So we had to bring that up. Nick saying we need to GoFundMe to name a Wilson shoot race after Chase. How much does it cost to name a race at Saratoga?
Dude, he said that. I never thought about it, but that is going to happen this year.
Mark, find out how much it costs.
I know a guy who can tell me an answer about that, and I bet you he'll split it with us.
We already talked about Cobb saying toss all jockeys, not name Ortiz. Christopher Brown saying 2022.
That sounds right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Feels right.
Yeah, feels right.
Stephen Fox saying data across different races don't really matter. So, Cobb saying, is Twitter going to face Naira to fix the shoot? They're going all crazy over the bumping this morning.
I mean, that was a factor of the track conditions that stop it.
Who's having a better meet, Franco, Castellano, or Saez?
Saez all day. I mean, Saez is like a 12 or 13% jock. No, he's not having his normal meet that he normally does. He has picked it up the past few days. Actually, he might be 14 or 15% now. But you have Manny, who's like a 7 or 8% jock, and Castellano's like a 4% jock right now. I think if you were to replace Saez with Cancel, that would be a much flatter perspective.
Yeah, I think it's a little unfair because Manny Franco, I mean, he gets a lot of Chad Brown mounts, and for him to be 7% is pretty bad. Saez doesn't, he's nobody's first call. I mean, maybe Mike Maker occasionally hasn't had a great Saratoga. I mean, he's not Pletcher's first call. He's not Cox's first call. He's not Chad's first call. So, I mean, he's almost like a Rosario where he kind of gets some pickup mounts and he rides for everybody a little bit. So, I mean, I think he's done fine with what he's had. Castellano, I think, is maybe the worst, given that his winners have all garbage. Basically horses that anybody, bring the band home, and a maiden for Jenna Antonucci who could have, won with anybody up. I mean, he did have a winner today on a George Weaver horse, but also it's a 4-horse field. He won by 10. I mean, he did have to. He won the last race, didn't he?
He won the last race.
You think Mark would have won on that?
He doubled his win total.
He doubled his win total with 2 wins today. Yeah.
Do you think Mark would have won on the Antonucci horse?
Probably. I mean, maybe.
I would not have made weight though. So,
Stephen Fox saying Castellano because he has the most pudding cups. So, all right, let's move on. Race 9. We got a stakes race here. The Skidmore, going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. This is an interesting race because we have 2 maidens, not just 2 maidens. Two first-time starters. Sorry, 2 first-time starters in this race. One being Schwarzenegger for Wesley Ward, Johnny Velasquez. Caleb, I know you have the Brisnet handy. How many times has Schwarzenegger scratched in the last month?
Yes.
A lot. Didn't he scratch? Was he in today? Didn't he scratch? Well, it was off the turf, but still.
Did he run today?
He was entered today, I thought. Didn't he scratch?
He was entered today, and he was supposed to run, but I think they scratched him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it looks like on July 13th he was scratched for off the turf. On August 1st he was scratched for RV-injured. I don't know what that.
That's a non-NYRA vet, so a remote vet scratched him as a vet scratch, which is the new game at trainers play for reasons.
And then I thought he was in today, but I could be misremembering.
No, he was. He was 100% in today.
Yeah, he was in today, and then he scratched when the race came off the turf again.
Scratched when it came off the turf, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine he scratches out of this, but go on.
All right. Well, Mark, where did you land here?
Oh man, really, really tough race. These types of races, just given the lightly raced horses, you have a lot of horses that are going to definitely take steps forward, all those types of things. I think the horses I'm most interested in are fairly logical horses. So Sandal Song, who comes back from Ascot, ran really, really well in the Norfolk. Very tough, very competitive race. And George Weaver has, he manages his barn very well, a very high percentage barn. Putting a rad back up on this one, I would imagine Sandal Song is very well meant here, and probably ends up being a major player in this race. And the other horse that I was really interested in is the outside horse, Spirit of New York, for Adam Rice. That maiden breaker was extremely impressive. I realize a rad gets off, but you're getting Jose, which I don't think is a downgrade, could potentially be an upgrade depending on how you look at it. Adam Rice has absolutely filthy statistics when he ships to Saratoga. So I think Spirit of New York is also a very, very well-meant horse in this spot. I'm not saying anything creative, though. I think those are probably two of your shorter prices in this race. I thought those were your two most likely winners. I'm interested to see where Caleb goes here, given the whole Schwarzenegger chaos. Is he actually going to run, and who else is in here? And there's a lot of ways you can go here. And I know Caleb loves nothing more than 2-year-old turf sprints. So go on.
Well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself and just get the hell out of here, because he only cares what Caleb says. But
well,
it is true.
Yeah, I mean, I like Sandal Song. I think this is your most likely winner. Looked great on debut and then ran really, really well in the Norfolk and Ascot. I mean, it remains to be seen how well he'll handle. I mean, for a 2-year-old, that's a big ship. I mean, we tend to downgrade older horses that come, across the pond to run these races. So I do think that, it's a quick ship with not a huge work tab. I mean, he came out of that race, in Norfolk, came back to the States. He's had 2 works in, almost 2 months. So I do think he's vulnerable in here, just given that I just don't know how fit he's going to be, what kind of effort we're going to see, how much that is going to take out of him, for a horse that's, really, already shipped from Florida to Europe and then to New York, all in the span of about 3 months. It's a lot. I think this horse is vulnerable, but a deserving favorite. The same argument, could almost be made against his stablemate, the number 4 Tough Critic. I don't think quite as highly of this horse. He did not really have as good of a showing over in Royal Ascot. He does come in with a lot more works. I mean, he comes back with, a string of about 4 works, which is what makes it even more puzzling to me that Sandal Song only comes in with 2 works. I kind of wonder where this horse has been all summer. So to me, I mean, the 4, probably not for me. The 2, probably more of a defensive use, as much as I hate to say that. But my top pick is actually the number 3 Monster. I think this is a horse who, once they got this colt on the right surface, I mean, it was just lights out. I mean, this horse went, the Gulfstream turf sprint timings are always kind of nonsense. I mean, you'll see 20-second quarters and 43 or 42 and change, halves, but no matter how you want to slice it, this is a racehorse. I mean, he opened up 3 lengths, never turned around, never looked back, and won by daylight. You get the perfect rider for this kind of a horse in Luis Saez, who's going to hustle this horse out of the gate. For a turf sprint, there's not really an abundance of speed in here. I mean, you do have Bobrovsky to the outside, although, as we talked about, frequently, dirt speed does not always translate to turf speed. Dale Romans, the Dale Tar, not exactly great when it comes to dirt to turf, and by not exactly great, I mean like 2%. So I think there's some questions there. Irad gets off that horse despite, winning by daylight. So all that to be said is I think the 3 is your speed of speed. He's a proven turf sprinter, and you get a barn that, does pretty good work, with turf sprinters specifically, and Jose D'Angelo. So Monster is my top pick in here, and I'll be thrilled to get 8-1.
I have 2 horses I like in this race. The 2 is probably the only one that I will use in any type of horizontal sequence. So Lone A. Look, if you ship over to Ascot and you get James McDonald to ride your horse, like you either just like sent him a boatload of money or you got the goods. Because say what you want about any of the other jockeys out there. James McDonald is probably the best jockey in the world. So the fact that he decided to get on this horse for George Weaver at Ascot tells me that this horse is the real deal. It remains to be seen, right, how this horse decides to ship over. We kind of talked about that before, but I will. I'll just assume that this horse is the goods. I mean, this horse won with Luca Panici aboard, so this horse could have won with Mark aboard. I like Sandal Song in this spot. Honestly, the only horse that I think I might use a little bit of would be the 7 Bobrovsky here. Granted, I get this is first time turf here, but this horse has been very fast out of the gate in his 2 starts. Just missed by a nose the first time out, and then came out to just absolutely blow the doors off at Saratoga, win by 10.5 lengths in that race. Obviously, that horse was training like a monster up until that race. But, you kind of look, Daredevil's been 9 for 127 in first-time turf starters. Granted, Daredevil's kind of a weird situation, right? Because the horse was here, and then they shipped that horse off to Turkey, was it? And then they bought the horse back after She Dares the Devil and Swiss Skydiver, I believe it was. Both just kind of like, blew everything up. And then they're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have shipped this horse off. So
I think the horse has been shipped off again, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh, God.
Yeah.
But I think that this is kind of an interesting horse, right? This is probably your speed in this race. So I'm interested to see how that horse runs. But I think Sandal Song is going to be tough to beat in this spot. Got an 86 in that Ascot race. So kind of like I said, thinking about the adjustment, I think that horse is probably the fastest horse in this field. But I'll go with the 2, and I'll have a tiny, tiny bit of the 7 in some way.
By the way, Daredevil has shipped back to Turkey for the 2025 breeding season for Lane's End, or Lane's End retains a portion of the ownership, so he is back in Turkey.
I think the deal was that Turkey like retained some of the rights.
Some sort of
when they sold it back. Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah. Yep.
But.
Anybody give the 6 horse in here Malice a look? Sorry, Josh, if you're trying to throw it to somebody else.
No, I'm 2 and 7. But what do you got?
No, I was gonna say I thought Malice, the 6 here, was a little interesting. I know Caleb won't bet the horse because it's a Pletcher horse going dirt to turf, but no, I thought I think Malice in here at a pretty big price. They tried to get this one on turf last time out, where the horse was on an off the turf affair and what kind of won for fun. Again, these 2-year-olds can be pretty heady, but if you're somebody who likes pedigree angles, the damn Lady Apple was an absolute monster, and she's done and if you're one of those people that kind of chases that kind of pedigree, super interesting. In a Mischief on the top end, a homebred for Phoenix Thoroughbreds. So I thought Malice was a little interesting in here, especially with Rosario up, who doesn't ride a ton of mounts for Todd, but when he does, they are extremely high percentage together. So again, one that's not. It's probably gonna have to sit a little bit of a pocket trip. Clearly, a couple of others in here, like the 3, have a ton of speed, but can I sit that pocket and try to make that one run off?
I mean, Todd's having a good meet. Rosario's riding really well. I don't think the horse is good enough, but you'll get your price.
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah, it's a value play, a tournament kind of play.
All right. David Bruce saying, imagine the pressure. Bronny Jr. ain't got nothing on this horse. I think he was talking about Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Cobb saying either Roman's got possessed by Baffert or Bobrovsky is a monster. Caleb, this is something that
why not both?
It could be. It could be the Ozempic. Who knows? Maybe I'm part Baffert at this point.
I mean, but, you are part Baffert at this point. Come on now.
Caleb, I got this backwards actually the other day, but we've talked a little bit about this before with turf figures generally being a little bit higher than dirt figures. Does that 92 that Bobrovsky ran last time out, seeing as that's the fastest time form figure? I mean, wouldn't you think that maybe turf he runs a slightly better figure compared to what these other horses have run?
In a vacuum, I mean, I think you're right in the sense that, like, yes, at an equivalent level and at not counting graded stakes, but like at a lower to mid level, it seems like a time form US turf figure is faster for a $40,000 claimer than it would be for a dirt horse for whatever reason. It does tend to like level out when you get to the grade 1, grade 2 level, but at the lower intermediate levels, it seems like the equivalent class level turf figures are faster than dirt. I guess my question with this horse is really just, I mean, this is a horribly low percentage move for Dale Romans. I mean, he's 2% first on turf, 1 for 42, and he's 4% dirt to turf. He's 2 for 67. I think, this is it feels kind of curious. I don't think this is a turf horse. Maybe there's just no stakes race that is carded at 5.5 or 6, which is where he'd like to run this horse. Therefore, he's trying to get a race in, doesn't want to put this horse in the, what is it, the race at the end of the summer, the Champagne or the Hopeful or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know, but to me, I'm just skeptical. I mean, we have 0 works since that last race. I mean, it kind of felt like in my mind, he shot his shot in that last race. I don't think there was much behind him in there. And, at 6-1, I mean, I don't mind you taking a shot, but I just don't think I can use him.
Anything else in this race? Cobb saying you shouldn't be allowed to name a 25K horse a monster. Race 10, the Alabama, going 1.25 miles here on the main track. Mark, you'll never guess who I'm betting in this race.
Oh, who's the E8? You're betting the 6. You're betting Lucara. Of course you are.
I'm all in on the 6, Lucara. Lone speed in 1.25 mile race. Thank you guys for checking us out. We are on the wrong lead. Anyways, yeah, I'm all in on the 6, Lucara. Looks to be lone speed, or at least speed of the speed in this race. And I don't know, man. Like, they got Nitrogen at 9-5, who granted won the Wonder again on the sloppy track by a mile, or basically by a mile. And I mean, I don't know. I think that there's just better horses in this race. Good Cheer, I've been trying to beat since this horse debuted, and I finally decided to single her at Saratoga, and she lost.
God,
so she's dead to me.
Me too.
At this spot. I finally was like, all right, I guess finally, I need to trust this horse. And this horse doesn't just lose, but loses by 9 1/4 lengths. And Lucara kind of went wire to wire in that race. Lucara likes this track, and has got a 7 furlong win on this track. It obviously won the Acorn, and yeah, I mean, you got Street Sense and Bernardini. I don't think the distance is going to be a problem for this horse, and yeah, I just really like Lucara in this spot, and I don't think I need anybody else in here. Caleb, where did you land?
Yeah, I'm similar to you, maybe with a little less gusto, perhaps. Well, I guess my question first is, I mean, do we really think Lakara is going to be third pick in this field? I mean, I think you could really switch her and Nitrogen. I mean, maybe I'm off, but I don't see Nitrogen going off at 9-5 in this field when Lakara truly goes off 5-2. I mean, if you're giving me 5-2 ish, on Lakara, I think that's a bet. And I agree with everything you said, Josh. I maybe not quite as all in because, as I'm sure Mark is going to talk about when he talks, she does have a hard time putting two good races in a row together. We have seen her kind of, having every other pattern. But that being said, I think she's certainly has an excuse in the Oaks where she went way too fast. Penn State Scott kind of jumped the gun too as well. So, I mean, she is a horse that hasn't really put two good races in a row together, or at least not since her 2-year-old season. But again, I think there's more excuses than anything else. Like the Oaks was just way too fast. And then prior to that, I think she's just a better horse now than she was then. I think she's really, continuing to improve and blossom. And, she's a much different horse when she gets the lead, and most of those, kind of clunkers we've seen, those are races where she either came out slow or didn't get the lead. But when she gets the lead, she's very difficult to run down. And I certainly imagine she gets the lead in this race today. So I agree with you, and Lakara is a definite use for me. I'll be trying to beat Good Cheer. Similar to Josh, she is dead to me after I tried to beat her 7 times in a row and lost. And then finally said, you know what, I'm done trying to beat this horse. I singled her in the Acorn, and she ran like Mark and Josh in a horse suit. So I'm just done with this horse forever, probably. If someone even tries to tell me that she has an excuse because it's an off track, I'm going to throw a brick at you because I hate that answer more than anything, especially for a horse with a strong off track pedigree and a prior 2-for-2 record over off tracks. I just don't buy that. I don't know what happened in that race, but at 8-5, I'm not willing to give her a second chance. So she can beat me if she does. That being said, I will have Nitrogen on one ticket. I think she's a less likely winner than Lakara. At 9-5, she's a real tough call for me because I think that's too short. But I do think she's a horse that has a very good chance to win this race. She proved she can handle the dirt in the Wonder again. Obviously, she beat nothing that day, but it's not so much about what she beat. We know what kind of horse she is. It's really just a question of if she does handle the dirt at all. I think she answered the question in that race that she is fine on the dirt. She is every bit as talented on the dirt as she is on the turf for the most part. She's very tactical, should get first run on Lakara and certainly first jump on Good Cheer. So Nitrogen will be, a use for me, but I do think she's an underlay at 9-5.
Yeah, Fortnite is fun. He says, not the best Alabama. The only one he feels okay with is Nitrogen, but who knows what her dirt race meant. Mark, where did you land here?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to be the contrarian in here. I think Good Cheer this race begins and ends at Good Cheer. I realize she had a bad race. I will just draw a line through it, ignore it. I don't necessarily have a reason for it. I don't think I need to. She's by far and away the class of this field and the class of this division. You can bet Lakara all you want. I'll bet her next time out because she's the most archetypal, every other type horse I may have ever seen. And with Nitrogen, I love Nitrogen. She's a cool horse. She's amazingly talented. The win on dirt, yeah, she did win on the surface, and yeah, she won by a billion lengths. But who else was in that field? In a field where she went off 40 cents in the dollar. There were no MTOs in that field, and it came off the turf. Like that, yes, she won. Yes, she did what she was supposed to do. She's going to take a lot of money on that angles from the Ed DeRosas of the world. Good for them. Sometimes they're right. I'm often wrong, but she's a horse I want absolutely no part of. The one horse we haven't talked about that I am interested in and is going to be a single B just as a pure value play is the 5-horse Queen Azteca, who is a horse that did a lot of really good stuff over the winter and early spring in the Middle East. The winner of the UAE Oaks, she ran a pretty darn nice effort in the UAE Derby. And she's been managed weirdly. There's this whole she's got starts in Norway and Sweden, places that you never really think of as horse racing places. But there are ownership connections and there are some incentives for her to run in those places. And that's the reason for those sort of oddball starts. They knew who they were going to be running against, and they shipped her over for this. I don't necessarily know she can win, but she's probably going to be longest or second to longest price on the board. And I think she's a horse that at least is interesting in taking a shot at. So I'll have Good Cheer as a lone A. I'll have Queen Azteca as a lone B, because if she wins, the value proposition will be absolutely monumental. And I just don't think I need somebody like a Nitrogen or Lucara. I think both those horses just, I don't know. I want to call Nitrogen a takeout reducer. I like her a little too much to call her that, but she's probably a takeout reducer in the spot, isn't she?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, if you're a time form guy, which I know you are, Mark, like Good Cheer has one race that's fast enough to win this, and it's the Oaks when she got a crazy pace to run into.
True.
I mean, you know, she otherwise has run within 4 points of the same figure every start since her second career start. To me, I mean, she's a textbook horse that was precocious, hit a wall. I mean, I just don't think I've never thought she was that good. And I still don't think she's that good. I mean, for me, 8 to 5 and more likely going to be 4 to 5 in this race. I mean, for a horse that has 1 out of 8 races that can win this is just not, you know, not a horse I can take.
Well, you're saying she's got 1 out of 8 races that can win this. What figure wins this? I mean, because there's not a lot of other horses that can really run faster than even her off day. I mean, on her off day, she runs what? I don't know, a 106 or a 109. I mean, if you think that the Nitrogen slop fig with nobody else in the race is a legit figure, then yeah, I guess Nitrogen can win. And Lucara on her every
she's got
race
3 figures that are
win.
above a 110, which is the minimum I think you need to win this. I think the winning fig will be able to run a 114, 115 on time form in here.
Who does? Nitrogen? So you're looking at turf races and trying to translate them to dirt form?
No, I'm using the dirt figure that was the 111, which is better than 7 out of 8 runs from Good Cheer.
But I mean, she never backs up a race with those figures. She ran a 116 last out, and so the last time she ran a 113, then ran a 108. Now she runs a 116. Is she going to run a 108 again, which isn't fast enough to win this race by your metric?
It's just as fast as Good Cheer, though.
I think, well, and that's kind of where I'm standing, right? So like, this isn't like a hard and fast thing, right? But time form, they have like this like class rating, right? And this is 111, right? So you assume that somewhere around like a 111, like to your point, Caleb, probably 111 to like 114-ish probably wins this race. If you look at Good Cheer, and let's just cross a line through, if you cross a line through her best race, right? Which, sure, granted, is probably stupid of us to do, but cross a line through that. Maybe that figure is just bad, right? You got a horse that's probably running like between like 106 and 109 pretty consistently, right? Sure. I mean, Nitrogen's got that 111 on the slop. Obviously, like I said, we've talked about this before with the turf figures maybe being a little inflated or maybe just a little bit higher in general based on class level. So you see the 117 last time out. I mean, that's probably like closer to like a 110, 112 on dirt, right? That's fine. But like Lucara's got, I mean, going back to last year, has got 3 figures in the 110s range. So I don't know. I get it. Like Good Cheer is just like a win machine, but I don't know, man. I hold grudges after this horse after that last effort. Like I can't.
I mean, if there's one thing I hate more than horses that run big figs and losing efforts, it's horses that run low figs and winning efforts. And that is the definition of Good Cheer. A horse that it's the Princess Nor of the East Coast who consistently wins, but doesn't run good enough figures to really be backed at the odds that the public tends to make them. So for me, I mean, I think she's a fade.
Or the Dr. Scheibel of the West Coast?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. God damn that horse.
Anything else on this race?
I mean, I tried to make a case for the 1. I don't think she can win, but I'm going to use her underneath somewhere. She just, I think of all the horses in this field that won 1.25 miles, she's the one that wants it the most. She's as honest as the day is long. This is probably too tough for her, but but I think she's the kind of horse that you might be able to work into, second or third for your exotics.
Yeah, I like that. She's a cool horse. She's super honest, and I really like her.
All right, let's move on. Race 11, We got a nice little turf allowance race here. We are going to be going a 1.16 on the inner turf in this spot. And your morning line favorite in this race is the one Assertiveness at 2-1. Caleb, how many tickets are you going to have Assertiveness on?
Surprisingly, most actually.
Oh, Caleb.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
Well, that ruins everything. Okay.
I like the race she's coming out of. I mean, it's a Monmouth race, I understand, but it's an allowance, which, you know, the third place and fifth place runners came back to win and improve their time form fig. You know, one of the, you know, horses that finished off the track in that race ended up, you know, improving their time form fig 10 points. I just think the race came back pretty strong, you know, given, you know, what it was. You know, I think it was a strong race. The figures fit. You know, you're getting Pletcher and Saez in here. You know, there's just, you know, like I said, it feels kind of dirty. As everyone knows, this is not really a horse that I'd normally want to have a whole lot going through. But, you know, they ran this horse on Haskell Day, so it's not out of the question that, you know, Todd sent this one down here to try to get a win. You know, if this was an allowance, I'd fade it in Saratoga. But for an N2L claiming race, this horse feels pretty tough.
So you won't bet a Chad Brown horse coming from Monmouth, but Todd Pletcher, you're like, sign me up.
Well, I feel like he rarely like does the Monmouth thing, so I don't have enough of a data set to really know that they're fake yet.
Mark, where did you land? You also landed on the one, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I'm just trying to say how to frame this. I love Katie Davis. She's wonderful. She's amazing for the sport, but she's just not that good of a jockey. And Katie Davis to Ricardo Santana, I cannot think of a much bigger jock upgrade in North America. And Kid Cressa, I know Josh is also on this horse. Lone speed in this race. This may be a little bit further than Kid Cressa really wants to run, but I don't think much of the rest of this field. And I think the you know, Kid Cressa on his A day wins this. On his B day, he's at least really tough in here. So I like Santana to go to the front end, kind of hopefully slow this down, not have to go stupid fast on it. Hopefully the turf is playing. You get a little rain, so hopefully it's a little speed favoring, which it often happens after a rainstorm. And Kid Cressa just wears this field at 7-2. I think Kid Cressa is kind of the horse to beat in here. The other horse that I was a little interested in is the 2-horse Dakota Country. Joe Rosario for Gargan. You know, ran it took a little while to break his maiden. You know, ran pretty darn nice last out in that going a mile and 1/8. Gets a touch shorter trip in here. I don't necessarily know by the performance there if that's the direction I would have gone, but Danny Gargan's much smarter training a horse than I will ever be. And I think Dakota Country is an interesting player here. I think there's enough pace in here to set up somebody like Dakota Country. You know, he's the horse that's going to be flying late in this field. So hopefully, you know, horses like the 1 and the 10, you know, create enough pace that it sets it up for somebody like Dakota Country. I don't hate the 1 horse, but I don't love the 1 horse either. It's a kind of 2-1 that I'm quite okay with that horse beating me. So I think I want the most of the 2-10, or the 2 and the 10. And I think there's a pretty big gap between those 2 and everybody else.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I see this race basically the same way as Mark. I have 2 A's.
Ooh.
The 10 Kid Cressa with Ricky Gogo Santana Jr. Taking the mount from Katie Davis, and the 2 Dakota Country. You know, Dakota Country looks like a horse that has kind of been improving here. You know, broke its maiden first time out this year at Aqueduct. Came to Saratoga, improved that figure, kind of finished 3rd in that claiming race, and. Yeah, I mean, Joel Rosario staying aboard here, and you know, him and Danny Gargan actually have been hitting at about a 25% rate over the last couple of months. So I like the 2 Dakota Country in this spot. I like the 10 Kid Cressa, and really, I only had 1 horse as a B, and it was the 6 Magni.
Yep.
And I like this horse because I looked at the pace complexion here, And Timeform's got this listed as a fast race, like just as a fast pace. And I'm not necessarily sure I agree with them, but if this race was to kind of fall apart, I was kind of trying to look, who do I see kind of picking up the pieces here? I think the 2 Dakota Country is got a really, really good kick, and probably is your most likely to win if you do get a really, really hot pace. But the 6 Magni broke his maiden on a similar type paced race where they had red fractions up front and closed in and made that run and won by a half length in that race. Next time out, Ruben Silvera riding again, and the horses improved, 10 points in that effort. Third time on the turf, a horse that has improved in both of his turf starts, and a horse that I think is going to want to have some pace in front of him. And you get Dylan Davis aboard, who, got off to a bit of a slow start, but, him and Mr. Friedman over here are at 20%. They've been 2 for 10 here. So, and 50% in the money in those 10 starts. So, a horse I would definitely include underneath in tries and exactas. And, maybe one that can spring a little bit of an upset at 20 to 1 here. So I'm 210, and my lone B is the 6 Magni. Caleb, you look very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I like your 10. I agree with you guys on the 10, mostly on the jockey upgrade angle. The 2 is probably not for me. That race, the right to win race on July 24th. I mean, Kid Crease is the horse that I think you want out of that, and I don't think it's all that close. He did all the dirty work on the front end. That race fell apart. Closers ran 1, 2, 3. I just thought that a horse like Dakota Country had no excuse to not get the job done there. Maybe third off the layoff improves, but what I assume is going to be like second or third choice. I'll probably let that one beat me. But I do like Kid Crease in here. Your 6 is 20 to 1. I don't think he's fast enough, but at 20 to 1, I don't blame you for taking the shot. Did anyone look at the 5? This is a horse I didn't really know what to do with. I mean, technically is undefeated in his lone turf route, which was at Gulfstream, last May of 24. Ran a decent figure in that race, considering, it was May of his 3-year-old season. Went through a few barn changes, but, we've seen this movie before. Linda claims the horse out of Churchill, brings him to New York, runs him. She gets IRAD up. I mean, you're not going to get a great price, but I thought this horse felt, pretty sneaky in here.
Do you know what Linda's dirt to turf percentage is?
Oh yeah, it's like 3% or something, isn't it? We had this conversation with Surveillance.
It is 2%. Like I did the same thing. I'm looking at like when she puts a rat up, she's like 37%, but she's also 2% with this move. Like I think this is one of those Linda horses that probably takes money off from it's Linda with a rat up and those things. I think it's a horse you just kind of let beat you. I get it. I don't hate the horse. The horse isn't crazy too slow, and Linda does have a way of moving horses up, but not for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I did forget about that. We had that conversation before, and Surveillance did not run.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the stat. She is 1 for 45 in the last 3 years going dirt to turf,
which is really incredible because I don't think she's a poor turf trainer.
I don't.
It's truly incredible that her specific dirt to turf stat is that poor.
Yeah, it's shocking, honestly. I don't know if there's a bit of an asterisk with this horse because this horse had run on turf prior, and I bet you a lot of those horses were her horses that had only run on dirt, and she had them and then put them on turf for the first time. So there may have been an asterisk.
Sure,
there, but I'd have to do a little bit of formulator deep diving. But
anything else on this race?
I'll say Caleb as well. Linda's a 5% turf trainer. Just throwing it out there.
Really,
was shocking.
I felt like she was better.
Yeah, I did too. She's a 5% turf trainer. I just looked it up. So shocking. Because it seems like Linda just kind of does everything, and in the claiming ranks, there's a lot of turf claimers in Naira, you would assume, but not her jam.
I'm saying past 3 years, she's 11% on formulator, but maybe.
Oh, that's probably. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the trailing. Is it year or 2 year at the bottom? I haven't done the full formula.
Okay, maybe more recently it's been poor.
More recently it's been worse, which could just be an aberrant. Steve likes to talk about thin sample size. So,
all right, 49 is fun saying when the rail is 27 feet on the inner, outside post 7 is 2 for 95. That's interesting. I haven't looked at those.
I'm not surprised,
Wow.
right? I mean, but it, that is pretty damning. Although I do think with a horse like the 10, you would think this horse can probably clear and save ground, but still, if I was looking to bet the, 8, 9, I'd be thinking twice, and I'm even thinking twice about the 10 now. So yeah, it's very fair.
I will say though that in general, ignore that. Ignore the rail distance. The outside posts do not tend to do well in the inner at any distance. It's always been a inner turf thing.
All right. Anything else on this race? All right. Race 12, 5.5 furlongs here. Turf allowance for New York breds. And your morning line favorite in this race looks to be the 2 Not for Hire at 3-1. Caleb, is that where you're looking at? Are you looking at the favorite here?
I think the favorite is, it is tough in here. I think. I mean, if you got to figure out what you think of the last race, right? Because that last race was terrible. I mean, it was a significant regression on time form, Brisnet. I mean, any figure I look at. I mean, the horse went off at 5-2 and just didn't really, get into the race and just ran, pretty much evenly from there on. Passed a couple tired horses late. I'm willing to forgive that. I think you're getting your rider upgrade to Santana, which is funny that I'm saying that because last year I would have never expected I would say that. But I think this year, I mean, it's unquestionable that going from Lescano to Santana is a significant upgrade. Yep. And I think that, he's a better gate jockey as well. This horse kind of got into some trouble just out of the gate, got bumped a little bit, and then was forced to go extremely wide to kind of make that run. That is not a winning trip. Especially with the rails out a little bit that day. So for me, I mean, I think the horse is still a use. Again, it's one of those like grumpy old man yells at cloud things. I'm like, why couldn't you give me like 6-1 on this horse, David? Like, why'd you have to make this horse 3-1? But yeah, I think this probably is your favorite. I think the race 2 and 3 back is more representative of what this horse is rather than the last race. So I do think Not for Hire is a deserving favorite. It is a horse I'll be using pretty prominently. Only other horse I am using in this race is actually the far outside horse, the number 10, Pay the Juice for Shug McGahee, who's had an extremely quiet Saratoga. Still think he's looking for win number 1 on the meet. Has not had many starters at all. But, if you go all the way back to the debut, this horse was, thought of as a turf sprinter, ran a really nice race sprinting on the turf to, just miss at Saratoga here in July of last year. Tried to get back on a turf sprint the next month, got rained off. The horse ended up handling the surface anyway. Then they tried some of the New York Stakes, races, sprinting on the dirt. They tried stretching this horse out. The Omaha Beaches have been much better sprinting than routing, even despite, what you may think being out of Warfront. His offspring have been predominantly better sprinting, and they've been pretty good on the turf. So I think cutting back to a turf sprint here makes a ton of sense for this horse. I think this is what, what this horse really wants to do is sprint on the turf. And, I think if there's an honest enough pace and Dylan can save a little bit of ground from a tricky draw, that this horse is also pretty live. But again, at 4-1, I'm not exactly uncovering any secret wisdom here.
Mark?
I think the 2 inside horses, the one Spoken Bluntly and the two Not for Hire, are probably your 2 most interesting, most likely winners in this field. And I think Caleb kind of talked about those. So I'll go to some other horses that I thought were interesting. I think as opposed to some of the other races in the sequence, there was a little bit more price potential in here. I don't see any price or like bomb potential, but I see some other interesting prices that, there's 8-1, 10-1 sort of range horses. So first one is the 4 on a ledge for Bruce Brown. If you're, everybody knows that I love me in Every Other Horse. This is very much an Every Other Horse who has done this for all of his last 6 starts. And you're getting Elliott, who is not going to draw any money. You're going to get every bit of that 6-1. You're probably going to get more like 10 or 12-1 on this horse. But the connections have done really well when they're putting Elliott up. So, interesting horse in that one. The other horse, the next horse is Bustin' Away, the 6. This is a horse that has 1 turf start for Anthony Farrow. You know, you're getting Kabarkoa up on this horse. Predominantly a Finger Lakes jock, but this is another horse that does like to win 6 and 9. You know, has won 6 of 9 of his starts in his career. There's a fair bit of turf pedigree. This is horses by a Galileo Dam, so you would assume this horse probably likes the green stuff. And that one race at Aqueduct was a nice effort in New York State Stallion Series race. So I'm really kind of interested to see this one getting another turf try. And I think this is a horse that's going to get completely ignored on the board. You're going to get every bit of that 10 to 1. You're probably going to get more like 20 to 1, and a horse that I think has, you know, an outside chance in this race. The other horse I was a little interested in is the 8, Sir Cartwright, for Jeremiah Engelhart. When Jeremiah puts a rad up, good things tend to happen. They're 50% together over the last year, and at the last Saratoga meet, 4 for 8, and I don't know, 7 for 15. So, you know, definitely good things. This is a horse that's never tried turf, but again, another one. Hennessy on the bottom end out of a Distorted Humor, out of McLean's Music, and then the Hennessy Dam on the bottom end. Fairly turfy top and bottom. There's enough turf there to say that this one might like this. Needs a major step forward in figures. I'm very aware of that to be a player in this race, but I thought somebody like, you know, any of those 3, you know, if you get past the 2 most likely is the 1 and the 2, which I think we've talked about. I thought those 3 were kind of those mid-price horses that could make this at least an interesting race, and I think it actually make this late pick 5 pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think I landed on my top pick being this one. Spoken bluntly, obviously the speed, inside drawn in this spot gets Kendrick Carmouche aboard. You know, and one last time out at Aqueduct on kind of looked like blue fractions on time form, but you know, 3 back, also won going in wire to wire fashion at Aqueduct. So first time here at Saratoga, inside drawn, going to be going a slightly shorter distance than going 5.5, but I think this horse is going to be kind of dangerous here on the front end. So I like the 1 in this spot. I mean, I didn't get too creative. The other 2 horses I used, the 5, Courtly Banker. You know, I hate taking a short price on Katie Davis, but the speed figures fit in this spot. And, you know, this is probably going to be the horse kind of sitting in that second pack. You know, ran, you know, pretty well last time, just coming up just short in that turf allowance race. So I like the 5, Courtly Banker here. And then the 10, Pay the Juice, is kind of your late pace horse. I know, Caleb, you kind of already talked about this horse a little bit. But yeah, I really like that debut 5.5 furlong race. And I think, you know, they kept stretching this horse out. I really like this horse getting back to the sprint distance. So I think the 10, Pay the Juice here is got a nice turn of foot. And I think in this race might be able to show it a little bit with, you know, off that layoff and kind of cutting back to the I think a distance that this horse has kind of run well. I mean, broke his maiden going 5.5 on the off the turf race. So I do think this is probably more of a sprinter. They tried stretching this horse out, but I really like seeing the cutback on this horse. Anything else in this race?
No. We talked about quite a few in there, so.
Mark, what's your plan for the weekend? You got contests you're jumping in? You're going to be on site? What are you doing?
I will be on track at least Saturday, maybe Sunday. Probably just Saturday. Weather looks a little thunderstormy on Sunday, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. Probably I've been playing the Horse Tourney 175 almost every day, doing real well with those, so I've been really enjoying those. And might try to dabble in a BCBC, one of the low vol qualifiers tomorrow. But yeah, you taking a few tournament shots. Obviously, we all kind of enjoy the tournament scene, so that's always fun. I wish Naira had a better tournament for this weekend. They had an amazing one last weekend. That 1K was great with BCBC seats. This weekend's a little soft, so I would imagine they'll kind of bump it up for Travers and we'll have a better Travers option. But yeah, probably just playing some live money in these. I think there's there's a lot of value in these pools, or at least in these pick 5 sequences, how I'm seeing them.
Caleb.
Yeah, I was supposed to be going camping this week, but have a sick dog, so that had to kind of fall through at the last minute. He's fine, but he can't be around other dogs, so we'll be home instead, since the group I was going with was bringing a few dogs as well. So I'll be around. Probably looking at Saratoga. I mean, that pick 3 at Woodbine I think is pretty fun. That Josh talked about, that $5 base. I always like to support anytime a track tries to innovate with a low takeout, high minimum wager. I try to throw a bet in. I think the industry needs more of those. So I'll probably be looking at a little bit of Woodbine for that pick 3, Saratoga. And yeah, I mean, probably some contest plays as well. I might try to get into Spawn Surf to qualify for next weekend. So I'll be around.
Yeah, you better get into Spawn Surf. I mean, I need some competition. So
I mean, with the way Delmar has been treating me this year, I don't know.
I feel like I need to hire a proxy to play all my Delmar plays for me, because the last 5 years I've done well at Delmar and not well at Saratoga, and then for the first time in years I'm quite positive at Saratoga and I'm just getting killed at Delmar. So dude, Delmar has always been so hard for me, and Saratoga is always a place that I do well there, and I've done well the past few years, but man, Delmar just brutalizes me, and it's like, oh great, I got to play a tournament where I have to play half my races at Delmar. Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Cobb saying plans for this weekend, betting the 5 every race.
That only works. That only works on Wednesdays, Cobb. Sorry, bud.
Fridays you got to bet the 6, right? No, the 4.
Yeah,
there you go.
Wait, is it 6 and is it 7 on Fridays? I get confused.
Well, that's going to do it for us here at On the Wrong Lead. Check us out at onthewronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. I am at Cherry Drank. Caleb's at CalebWVU. Mark's at 2 Turns. Hey, Mark, maybe you'll get you'll post some shorts again this weekend.
Ooh, I might.
People like the shorts. So
people like the shorts.
Yeah. Have a good weekend, guys. Let's make some money if my video decides to play.